Hello, Yaker here. Sorry if this video is even more impromptu and sloppy than my usual style, but I wanted to do a video on this quick little topic because I was taking a break from some stressful, annoying, dealing with bug stuff I was doing on another project, and in my method of relaxation, which is my love-hate relationship with World of Warcraft, I just ended up being more frustrated and annoyed by something that I personally feel is bad game design, perhaps in an objective sense. I could be wrong, of course, but let me show you what I'm talking about, right? So there's this encounter of these 3 elite units, right? They're supposed to be pretty tough. Okay, no big deal. But, you know, there's not a lot of other players around at this time of day. And I don't have any friends online, right? So I'm like, all right, maybe I can deal with this myself, right? Surely if I was playing a tank spec paladin or something, I would be very confident in my ability to deal with an elite encounter. But I'm playing a rogue, so I'm like, all right, how can I deal with this as a rogue? Well, the rogue has sap, an ability to disable 1 unit, so that you can keep it out of the fight. I've got another blind, right, which can much more temporarily. Actually, no, that's right. It's not very temporary anymore. They changed that a long time ago. They can also take a unit out of the fight. So I can fight one of these guys one-on-one. Now, 3v1, I'm pretty much screwed. Rogues are not very good at dealing with elite units. But one-on-one, and then moving on to another target, if I can kill 2 of them one at a time, I can probably win. And I have some other disables and useful abilities. Someone else showed up. Well, anyway. I had to wait quite a while before for anyone else to show up, which was partly what was annoying me. So here's the thing. These guys, I can't show this in combat, but look at this, what happens when I try to blind this guy here, right? Immune. Same thing would have happened if I tried to sap them to get them out of combat, right? Maybe I should help this guy. Anyway, point is that those abilities just don't work. They're disabled on these mobs. This has been kind of a long-running thing in World of Warcraft at this point. I don't know if I would say it always has been. I want to say it was rarer in the past. And I can see why they did it, right? They did it because they want to railroad you into doing a specific thing, and that is to say they want you to complete this encounter with allies, like I'm doing now, right? Now, this guy probably could have completed it on his own, no problem. He's a fucking hunter, right? That's no big deal for him. But I couldn't, and certain players, like apparently rogues, are not meant to complete this on their own. And there's 2 things about that annoy me. One is that they've taken away abilities that they give you, right? These class skills like sap and blind, which are supposed to let you do exactly that sort of thing. Disable 2 targets so you can focus on fighting a third without interruption. Right, without getting basically to give you an advantage, right, and do what I was talking about earlier, and that's what the this is working. That's what those abilities are intended for. And in this situation, because they don't want you to be able to do that, they've just disabled those abilities. They haven't created an encounter that was perhaps more difficult with a larger number of enemies that would have made that a non-viable strategy. They've just disabled the ability for it to work. And I think this is pretty fucking unreasonable. For one, other classes could complete that encounter without any assistance, so there's no real reason to just fuck over rogues and maybe 1 or 2 other classes that would need a similar strategy to complete the encounter on their own. Well, it's a world quest. I'm calling it different things, but yeah, I haven't played WoW in a long time, so forgive my weird terminology. And it's kind of bullshit, honestly. It's kind of fucking ridiculous when you don't disable, when you railroad your players into a specific way of solving a problem when you've created a game in which there should be many ways to solve the problem, right? You've created tools that give the players many ways to solve the problem. Then you just take away most of those tools and say, you got to solve the problem this way. And especially when you have a class system, and WoW's class system is pretty homogenized at this point, so it's maybe not as true these days as it was in the past, but for many MMOs, especially ones that aren't as WoW-like, we have a class system, and the classes are notably different. There's at least some difference still. A tank class, like a paladin in a tank spec, for example, is very good at dealing with several enemies head-on, right? They can sustain themselves very well. They're very resistant to damage. They're really good at that kind of thing. Rogues are not, right? Several classes are not. And they've created this encounter that's just solvable that way, and by default with like the base elements of the game, it would be solvable by paladins, by rogues, by classes that can take things head on, and by classes that can't. But they've chosen to specifically exclude some classes from the list of people that can solve it by taking away routes to solving the problem that they'd previously given us for other situations, right? Anyway, this just kind of pisses me off. It doesn't make any sense, that I can tell, because it doesn't actually apply equally to everyone playing your game. And it doesn't make any sense either because you're taking away, you know, content and tools that you've given to people instead of just leaving it as is, as it were, right? And by not putting these restrictions on this encounter, you have more content there, right? There's more ways for players to solve the encounter. There's more things you can do. I could solve this encounter as a rogue and take an innovative strategy like disabling multiple enemies to get rid of it. And then I could come back playing another character like a Death Knight and then just kill everything, right? And that's another route to solving this problem, right? And I would get two different experiences, but there's only the one experience. You face it head on, you just beat the shit out of it. Only solution. And they've gone out of their way. I think that's the word I was trying to looking for earlier. They've gone out of their way to make that the only solution, and that kind of pisses me off. Anyway, you know, it's just my opinion, I suppose, but I believe that doing that sort of thing is just bad, just not a good game design, right? Yeah, anyway, for those of you who are more used to my other content, like mainly Dominions, that will be coming back. I want to do the next part of my construction video, but I've been working on this other project, which maybe I'll do a little announcement video of. It doesn't have much overlap with my YouTube stuff, but yeah, it's kind of neat. And it's been taking up all of my time the last few days, but I should be done by tomorrow and doing more Dominion stuff soon. Thank you all for watching. Yakri out.